Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. The Bold and the Beautiful Bee and Be spoilers. Eric urges Ridge to leave Taylor for Brooke as Italy trip looms. Eric Forrester interferes in Ridge's love life, pressuring him to leave Taylor for Brooke. An Italy trip could change everything. Get the explosive B&B spoilers. Eric Forrester's shocking betrayal. The patriarch declares war on Taylor's happiness. Get ready for the ultimate family showdown. Eric Forrester has officially thrown down the gauntlet, and his target? His own son's relationship with Dr. Taylor Hayes. The Forrester patriarch isn't just delivering fatherly counsel anymore. He's intentionally destroying Ridge and Taylor's romance while supporting Brooke Logan as his son's one true destiny. And with a strategically planned trip to Italy on the horizon, this meddling might change everything. The patriarch turns puppet master. Let's call it what it is. Eric has gone from supporting father to full-blown manipulator. He's not subtly suggesting anymore. No, the man who's had more wives than we can count on both hands is now telling Ridge exactly who he should be with. And spoiler alert, it's not Taylor. Sources indicate that Eric has been relentless in his campaign, even going so far as to take out old images of Brooke to remind Ridge of their relationship. The pressure has reached a boiling point, with Eric openly declaring that Brooke is Ridge's destiny. Meanwhile, Taylor, who's engaged to Ridge, by the way, is being dismissed as yesterday's news. What's motivating this unexpected obsession? Some fans speculate it's deeper than just wanting his son happy. Could Eric be trying to replicate his own lost love tale with Beth Henderson through his son? Or is this about finally winning against his late wife Stephanie's wishes? Because, let's not forget, Stephanie always championed Taylor as the appropriate woman for Ridge. Italy, the ultimate manipulation tactic. Hold on to your passports, soap fans, because Eric's not done yet. The master manipulator has planned a business trip to Naples and Capri, and guess who's explicitly invited? Brooke, of course. This isn't just any trip. This is a deliberate move to one of the world's most romantic destinations where Ridge and Brooke have enjoyed numerous memories over the decades. Taylor knows exactly what's occurring here. She sees right through Eric's obvious attempt to reignite the Bridge romance by isolating them in a romantic pressure cooker situation. Away from Los Angeles, away from Taylor, surrounded by Italian sunsets and memories of past romance. It's like Eric read a How to Break Up Your Son's Relationship manual. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Just as Ridge and Taylor are finally engaged and planning their future together, suddenly there's an urgent business need to hurry out to Italy? Please, we weren't born yesterday, Eric. 38 years of drama. Comes to this? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or should I say, the love triangle that's been whirling for nearly 4 decades. Ridge has married Brooke 8 times. 8. He's also married Taylor many times, usually after she's mysteriously returned from the dead. This isn't just about a fickle man who can't make up his mind. This is about a pattern so deeply ingrained that it's become the show's DNA. But here's the kicker. Insiders are whispering that this time might actually be different. Executive producer Bradley Bell has been especially loud about a dramatic event in Italy that will lead Ridge to recognize Brooke is the true love of his life. A dramatic event? In Italy? Let me guess. Someone's going to end up in the Mediterranean. There'll be a life-or-death rescue, and then Ridge will have a revelation about true love. Because nothing screams, I choose you, like a near-death experience in unfamiliar waters. Taylor deserves better than this. Can we just take a moment to acknowledge how dirty this all is? Taylor has been through enough. The woman has been killed off twice, kept captive in Morocco, shot by Sheila Carter, and has spent decades being Ridge's second choice whenever things go south with Brooke. Now, when she finally gets her man and a ring on her finger, Daddy Dearest is actively seeking to wreck her happiness. And let's not even get started on the fact that they recast Taylor with Rebecca Budig. Nothing against the actress, she's talented, but fans aren't stupid. We know it's simpler for fans to comprehend Ridge leaving this version of Taylor than if it were still Hunter Tylo in the role. The emotional weight just isn't the same, and the makers know it. What happens next? The fallout will be explosive. Here's my prediction, and mark my words. That Italy trip is going to be a game changer. Eric's meddling, combined with whatever dramatic event the writers have cooked up, will push Ridge back into Brooke's arms. But at what cost? Taylor isn't going to go gently into the night. If the spoilers are any indication, she might link up with someone unexpected to fight back. Can you imagine? Taylor and Nick joining forces against the Bridge reunion? Now, that would be must-see TV. But here's the actual question. Will Ridge finally grow a backbone and stand up to his father? Or will he let Eric rule his love life like he's still a teenager? The man is pushing 60 for crying out loud. If he can't make his own romantic decisions by now, maybe he doesn't deserve either woman. One thing's for certain. Eric's interference has sparked a fuse that's poised to blow. Whether it kills Ridge and Taylor's relationship or backfires horribly on the interfering father remains to be seen. But mark my words, someone's heart is getting destroyed, and the Forrester family dynamics will never be the same. What do you think? Is Eric true that Brooke is Ridge's destiny? Or should he mind his own business and let Taylor finally have her happiness? The drama is just beginning, and I have a feeling we're in for one wild ride. Bridget kidnapped. Grace's attempt to silence scam exposure? The bold and the beautiful spoilers warn that Bridget Forrester could have an abduction dilemma in her future. Could Grace Buckingham's make a panicked attempt to silence her scam exposure? Grace can feel that Bridget is getting suspicious, so she's surely anxious about her colleague figuring out how she fooled Liam Spencer, Bill Spencer, and those closest to them. Everyone has been celebrating Liam's tumor cure, but Grace reportedly lied about Liam having an inoperable brain mass. It looks like Grace faked the scans before coming up with this pretend experimental procedure to get Bill's $1 million. John Finnegan will dig for answers in the following episodes. But what about Bridget? There must be a reason why the show has both doctors involved in this storyline. We all know B&B won't be able to resist having Finn play the hero, so he'll presumably reveal Grace's deception in the end. Finn will likely be the one to offer Liam, Bill, and Steffy Forrester updates on the tumor fake-out news. However, Grace could still play a significant role in what follows next. What if Bridget performs a little study of her own and figures out the fraud first? If Bridget confronts Grace over the faux tumor and bogus procedure, things could quickly take a dangerous turn. Grace is starting to come unhinged owing to all the pressure she's under since she supposedly had someone threatening her about payments. We've seen Grace almost hyperventilating in her office, so she's on a downhill spiral. That could lead to Grace making a bold move to silence Bridget. We could certainly imagine Grace kidnapping Bridget to keep her quiet, at least until she can figure out her next move. Then again, Grace might simply knock Bridget out and bolt. Perhaps Grace could just try to slip out of town before the cops come knocking at her door. By the time Finn figures out the scam, Bridget may already be Grace's victim. Eric Forrester still has a few tricks up his sleeve. Eric Forrester is getting to that age on The Bold and the Beautiful where it's appropriate for him to meddle in his family's personal affairs and in matters of the heart. Soap spoilers reveal that the Forrester Creations patriarch will try to play matchmaker this summer, and his future daughter-in-law is not going to be happy about it. Here's what's occurring next month on the CBS soap. B&B spoilers down below. Taylor grows suspicious. It was recently revealed on Bold and the Beautiful that several members of the cast will be headed to Naples, Italy. Ridge Forrester, Eric Forrester, Brooke Logan, and Captain Nick Marone are all scheduled to appear in the episodes in Italy. But previews hint all hell will break loose in Europe, and there could be a serious accident. B&B spoilers show Eric Forrester pushed for Brooke and Ridge to both go on the Forrester Creations vacation, even though it was evident his fiancée, Taylor Hayes, wasn't happy about it. Eric pushes Bridge reunion. Eric has always been a major Bridge fan. When it comes to matter of the heart where Ridge is concerned, Eric has always encouraged him to be with Brooke Logan and maintained they were soulmates. Apparently, Eric believes that if he can't be with Brooke, then his son Ridge should be. Regardless, it is clear that Eric is hoping sparks will fly between the exes while they are on the trip together. Bold and beautiful spoilers say Taylor isn't happy about her soon-to-be husband heading to romantic Italy with his ex, and there's a high chance she could pop up in Italy to conduct a little spying. Do you think Eric's idea to reconnect Bridge will work? Finn exposes Liam's tumor truth. Ridge's heart for one woman. The bold and the beautiful spoilers teaser video for the week of July 21st to 25th shows that John Finn Finnegan will unravel the Liam Spencer tumor truth, while Ridge Forrester gets a reminder that his heart only belongs to one woman. BNB's weekly ad opens out with Nick Marone's visit to the Forrester estate, where he talks to Taylor Hayes about her engagement with Ridge. After Taylor brings up her engagement, Nick will imply it should put an end to the Ridge-Brooke redo thing. Although Taylor may agree, she really shouldn't be so secure in Ridge's dedication to their future. That's because Ridge has a history of waffling and always ends up back together with Brooke Logan ultimately. At Forrester Creations, Eric Forrester will remind Ridge of the love he has for Brooke and make it plain that she's the only person in the world for his son. Ridge may argue that he's developed something unique with Taylor too, but Eric won't think their relationship could ever rival with the one Ridge has shared with Brooke over the years. Meanwhile, Finn will chat with Bridget Forrester about Liam, Grace Buckingham, and all the unresolved questions they have concerning Liam's experimental operation. Both Bridget and Finn have issues about how everything went down, so there'll be more probing in the future episodes. BNB's weekly teaser video depicts a pensive Finn staring at Liam's brain scans on his laptop as he asks, "What really happened to you, Liam?" Grace will have a hard time keeping all her secrets under wraps in the coming episodes. Will Finn figure out that Grace is running a scam and that Liam never had a brain tumor at all? Grace will have to face some consequences sooner or later. So stay tuned for updates on all the stunning news that Finn's sure to uncover. It won't be long until Grace's web of lies fully falls apart and drags the whole truth out into the open. BNB spoiler fiction. Eric Forrester's war on Taylor, the Italy love trap, and Grace's kidnapping spiral. Eric Forrester had always been a man of legacy, art, passion, and control. Traits that suddenly boiled together into an explosive force threatening to tear the Forrester family apart. The Grand Patriarch's obsession with reuniting Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan wasn't merely rooted in nostalgia or wistful longing. It had metastasized into a full-blown campaign, a mission backed by calculated manipulation, well-timed deceit, and a dangerously orchestrated overseas love trap that would unravel decades of family loyalty. And as the Italy trip loomed like a storm cloud over the already delicate union of Ridge and Taylor Hayes, Eric tightened his strategy. Ruin the engagement, exploit Ridge's soft heart, and demolish Taylor's fragile notion that this time she was the final choice, not Brooke. While Forrester Creations scrambled to finalize their European showcase, Eric pushed harder, weaponizing the past with strategically framed photos of Ridge and Brooke's weddings, slyly slipped into design meetings, and even left on Ridge's desk in mock absent-mindedness. He called it fate. Taylor called it betrayal. Meanwhile, Taylor, already dubious of Eric's intentions, got increasingly disturbed by the hour as she watched her engagement crumble thread by thread. She approached Ridge, begged for clarity, but all she got was more hedging and avoidance. Her senses shouted that Eric wasn't just playing matchmaker, he was executing a coup. And while Taylor faced the pain of being written out of her own engagement, another Forrester woman was walking into terrible danger, Dr. Bridget Forrester. As the trip to Naples neared, Eric extended Brooke's invitation with artificial grace, insisting it was strictly professional, even as he arranged their shared suite at a romantic villa known for its stunning views of the Bay of Capri. the very place Ridge had once promised Brooke eternal love under the stars. Taylor watched it unfold like a nightmare, helpless as Ridge offered her gentle reassurances with hollow eyes and dodged the question of why his father was erasing her from their future. But Eric wasn't the only one unraveling a future with perilous games. Across town, Grace Buckingham, once steady, clinical, and composed, was buckling beneath the weight of her million-dollar lie. She had forged Liam Spencer's MRI data, performed a phony experimental thoracic surgery with falsified neurosurgical papers, and convinced Bill Spencer that only her miracle procedure could save his son. But now Bridget Forrester, forensic-minded and loyal to her oath, was asking too many questions. Why was Liam discharged so quickly? Why weren't the post-op scans adding up? Why did Grace seem to fear every time the phrases second opinion or peer review were mentioned? Bridget's suspicion deepened when she caught Grace nervously deleting files in the medical database and stammering when asked for original scans. Unbeknownst to Grace, she was already being tracked. Finn had begun his own quiet investigation, reviewing Liam's medical records, cross-checking the surgeon's logs, and contacting the so-called experimental board Grace had cited. What he discovered chilled him. There was no board. The surgical approach Grace claimed to utilize didn't exist. And Liam's pre-op scans? They had been edited, crudely, but just enough to fake an aggressive tumor near the corpus callosum. That discovery made Finn realize something chilling. Not only had Liam never had a tumor, but the procedure might have induced stress that put him into a coma unnecessarily. As Bill continued celebrating Liam's miracle recovery, the truth loomed like a guillotine. Finn contemplated how to notify the family, while Bridget, unaware of Finn's parallel investigation, cornered Grace at the hospital one night. "I know what you did," Bridget whispered, her voice trembling with fury. "I know you faked his scans. I know this whole thing was about money." Grace, now shaking, tried to bluff, then threatened to sue, then broke down in a panic attack, gasping for air and sobbing. But when Bridget told her she was going to the medical board and the police, Grace snapped. Desperate, manic, and unraveling from mounting debt and blackmail, threats from creditors tied to her ex-husband's criminal past, Grace lunged. She poisoned Bridget with an anesthetic-filled needle she'd had in her emergency kit and kidnapped her. By the time Finn noticed Bridget wasn't returning calls and her workplace was wrecked, it was too late. Grace was already traveling north with Bridget comatose in the back seat, frantic to find a spot to hide until she could depart the country. Meanwhile, back at Forrester Creations, Eric pulled the final string in his scheme. He announced that Brooke would be headlining the fashion show in Naples, while Taylor would remain in Los Angeles to supervise PR, a thinly veiled exile. Ridge, torn and flustered, didn't stop it. That quiet said volumes. And so, as the private jet flew off the runway with Ridge, Brooke, and Eric aboard, Taylor watched from her Malibu clifftop, eyes filled with anguish and wrath. But she wouldn't stay behind. With support from Nick Marone, who arrived unexpectedly after hearing about the Italy trip, Taylor boarded her own airplane. Nick, enraged on her behalf, informed her, "You deserve to see the betrayal with your own eyes before you walk away forever." Back in Italy, the fashion event was a dream. Sunlight glinting off the Mediterranean, models flowing down a glass catwalk in chiffon and silk. But the air between Ridge and Brooke was charged, electric, irrefutable. At dinner that night, after too much Prosecco and too many memories, Ridge leaned in and kissed Brooke under the stars. And Eric saw it all, smiling from a balcony above, proud that destiny had finally been fulfilled. But that kiss had ramifications. Taylor arrived that same night and saw them together, Ridge and Brooke, wrapped in an embrace that shattered her heart. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She simply turned and walked away, leaving a message at the villa. "I am not Stephanie. I will not die waiting for you to select me." Meanwhile, Finn tracked Grace's vehicle plate through hospital records, connecting it with gas station footage. He finally identified the lonely cabin where Bridget was being held and alerted local authorities. A rescue mission occurred. Bridget was found drugged, but alive, and Grace was arrested, screaming that it had all been for love, for redemption, for survival. Her statement would send shockwaves through the hospital board, the Forrester family, and most bitterly Bill, who understood he had been duped and Liam had suffered a needless surgery and coma because of his desperation to heal everything with money. As the aftermath raged across Los Angeles and Florence, Taylor returned home, done with Ridge, while Ridge returned too, with Brooke hand in hand, with no notion that the world he was returning to had changed forever. Liam was awake. Bridget was recovering. Grace was imprisoned. Bill was broken. Taylor had vanished. And Finn, haunted, hardened, held the truth that rescued everyone, yet left emotional ruin in its wake. And Eric? He stood in the Forrester courtyard one evening, sipping champagne, watching Ridge and Brooke giggle in the distance. "Stephanie," he said to the breeze, "I won." But the victory was empty, because in selecting destiny, he destroyed peace. And in forcing Ridge's heart, he crushed another's soul. And thus the legacy of the Forresters continued, stitched together by scandal, betrayal, and a patriarch's final desperate effort at rewriting love's ending.